Hey up YouTube, what are we doing today? Well, I'm a little bit behind. Well, no I'm not really. I'm where I want to be with regards to what I'm doing today, which is, I've had a delivery. Might as well show you it this way. That they're from Marshalls. I'm not, not sponsored, but it's just where I get mine from. And today, ignoring that bit, is shallots and garlic. See, a lot of people saying, "Oh, what can I plant now?" And everybody says onions. Now, I don't know if they're just saying, "Oh, onions as a whole." And they're factoring in that people realise that these are onions, but a lot of people don't realise that you can get you can get autumn planting shallots. I get these from Marshalls. I as of this year, I'll be doing. Excuse me a second. I'll be planting 2 sets of shallots. I'll be doing colour again. Oh, why my camera keeps doing that? I will be doing an autumn and a spring planting. Now, what you have to be aware of if you're putting these guys in, we're going to go through. I'm not going to focus too much on it, but we're going to go through sorting and cleaning. Is that these guys, these autumn planters? These will go in now, but they won't come out until June, July time. So wherever they're going, really, whatever bed you're putting them in, needs to be, if you're planning ahead, it needs to be that bed will be your second sowing or your late sowing of whatever. It's not going to be ready sort of March, April time. That bed's not going to be available because onions, garlic, shallots, they don't like competition. You have to keep the weeds down. You have to keep the bed clear. They're very, very surprisingly hungry plants. So mine are going in an alpaca manured bed. That alpaca manure has been on 3-4 months. It's actually one of the ones where in a previous video you saw me throw some cabbage or cauliflower in. I can't remember what it was. Unfortunately, something got to that. It all got eaten. So that bed I have back. So that's the plan for today. That's all we're doing today. So I'm going to go through. I'm going to roll the credits, and then we're going to go through sorting some of these shallots out. I apologise for the lights. I haven't quite figured out what to do with regards to diffusing light in here yet. But we're going to go through, we're going to sort them out. I've got 2 different varieties, but I'm not too bothered about them getting mixed up. So I'm going to roll the credits and we'll go through and get things ready for planting. Okay, so let's have a look at these guys. I've got a box here. I've got 2 boxes. I've got my box from Marshalls. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run you through a couple, and then I'm going to time lapse the rest, because this bag has got a couple of good examples, I think, of what to do with your shallots. So, or your onion sets, because it's the same principle. So I've got a box here, empty box just for my waste. Any waste will go onto a compost pile. Now this one, as you can see, is discoloured and black, and so I'm not going to plant this one straight off. I'm going to have a look underneath, and I'm going to be quite severe. In actual fact, it turns out being quite severe is only 1 layer of paper. Oh no, it is 2. Now I've got 2 shallot bulbs in here, so I might do a little experiment. I might plant the 2 bulbs separately, but we need to peel back the paper. Sorry, realising you're not being able to see what I'm doing. In fact, I'm going to angle the camera down slightly. Give me a moment. So, what we've got here is a bulb, which that's all an onion is a bulb. And you can see, look, carefully, it's actually split. There may be actually more than one split in here, but as I was saying, you see it's all black and bruised. So we're going to have an investigation under the surface. We're going to take the paper off, because ordinarily something like this you wouldn't plant, because it'd just rot. You'd be wasting the space. But such a big bulb, especially with it having 2 bulbs in it, I'm going to have a look and just see if the rot is only paper deep. You always get this with your onions and shallots. It's even got a scar in it. It's really not shaping up to be a good example of an onion set, this one, or a shallot set. Yeah, there's definitely mould under here. It's although I have managed to get past it. So I think, as you can see, sort of around here, look, it's there. But if I take that skin off, it's quite severe, the amount of skin I'm taking off. But there's it's all mould. So what I'm going to do with these guys actually is I'm going to do a little experiment. I'm going to peel them. I'm going to put some muck in a pot, or put some compost in a pot, and I'm going to stick these in greenhouse, in polytunnel. And I am actually going to separate them as well. So I'm going to click them apart like that, hopefully kept enough of the root on the bottom of each bulb. And I'm going to stick these in some compost in a pot. So we'll revisit those guys. We'll put those over there. Now then, this one, for all intents and purposes, looks pretty good. But I can feel it's very crinkly under there. So we're going to have a look at this one as well. Now I've got to say, at the moment, I normally get all my onions and things from Marshalls, but at the moment they're not looking very. Yeah, I'm not even going to pick that one. I'm not even going to open that one up. That one's going to go straight in the waste. This one, once again, a little bit of scarring on, but this one's going to be planted. So we're going to take off any loose papers, or any loose paper. Now this, do I have some snips in here? No. I'll have to do it carefully this way. You see the tail is really, really long. Now the theory is, rightly or wrongly, that will inhibit the growth. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip off that bit of tail. And that one's going to go in for planting. So we've got another one here. This one, once again, it's got some loose paper on it, but we'll take all that off, and that's perfectly fine for planting. It's not got a long tail on it, so we'll keep that one. Do a couple more. See, look, take the loose paper off. This one's got a tail on. It's come off quite readily actually, and good for planting. And some of these, I mean, I grow shallots for pickling. You know, that's golf balls. That's almost ready for pickling. But we'll stick it in the ground. I'm not sure if I can feel no, there's definitely one bulb in that one. But what we're going to do is we are going to take off some of this tail. Obviously this is just where the leaves were sticking out. I'm not going to, oh no, I've put a split in it. So I am going to take off some of the paper. Skin, and ready for planting. Last one. This is a good one. Lots of, I mean, the paper's just come away nicely. It's nice and healthy, nice and firm, no giving it, good for planting. So I'm going to rattle through the rest, just to show you, sort of give you a bit of a. So I've got 2 varieties. I've got Red Sun and Golden Gourmet. These are from Marshall's autumn planting varieties. I've also got some Provence wight. This is a soft neck garlic. I could do with another container really. I'll just quickly show you what to do with your garlic. I mean, the garlic really isn't rocket science. These look quite healthy. So I'll take off. I like to keep my labels. Oh well. So we've got, quite simply, a bulb of garlic. That bulb is full of cloves. So all we're going to do, don't do this, by the way, until you're ready to plant. Don't break your stuff up until you're ready to plant it. And then that is what you're going to plant. Just a single clove. This is why it goes such a long way. The only reason I bought some is because my harvest last year, although I had a lot of garlic, I've not got any particularly big bulbs, and I wanted to grow a soft neck variety. I'll talk about the differences in soft neck and long neck, but it comes down to harvesting really more than anything else. I don't worry too much about, there we go, a large clove and a small clove. They all get planted. So yeah, I grew a hardneck variety last year. The primary difference being that the hardneck, the grass that grows out of it, or the stalk that grows out of it, depending on what you want to call it, is a tough stalk. It never goes soft. Soft neck variety has a softer neck. It's better for weaving, and I believe it in turn makes it a better storer. The one thing I will say when you're peeling your garlic is don't take all the paper off. Don't take it right back to the clove. Don't take it right back to the clove. Leave some of the paper on. That'll help sort of protect it a little bit. But garlic is as simple as separate out your cloves. There's not a great deal of anything else to it. Just check them, like that one. Clearly got hit by something when it was being harvested. But I mean, you get so much for your money. I was having a conversation on Facebook the other day with somebody who was saying, oh, I just plant stuff from the supermarket. That's up to you. I don't. You run the risk of, no matter how small, you run the risk of disease, things like that. And secondly, yeah, alright, those 2 cloves of garlic, yes, they cost me a £5. But I'm going to get, oh god, 4, 5, 6, 7, so that's about 10. So I'm going to get about 20 garlic plants out of that. So have a quick look at this one, because it's looking a bit worse for wear. Yeah, so there's another one it's got a bit of mould on it. So we'll discard that one. But you know, once you've found a variety you like, which is why I'm still buying garlic bulbs as opposed to just planting some on. Once you find a variety you like, you never buy it again, because you just keep your 2 biggest bulbs, or you know, however many you want to keep. Depends on how many you want to plant. Store them correctly, and they'll keep through winter or through summer, ready for planting. Now with the garlic, I didn't last year, and I've had weird results. I didn't take the tops off. I didn't trim the tops. This year I'm going to trim the tops, so I'm just going to go through and just pinch off. Discard that one. Pinch off all these tops. It should, what the theory is, the theory behind what it does is it enables the garlic, because of course the way you plant it, that's where it was connected at the bottom of the clove, so it was sat like that. The sprout grows out the top of there, the roots grow out the bottom there. So the theory is that in taking these little bits of tassel, remaining neck or whatever you want to call them off, the theory is that it will give you, or it will enable the garlic to get off and get started just that little bit quicker. I don't know how right it is, but I didn't do it last year. My garlic got away fine. I've grown plenty of it, but it didn't grow particularly big. So you know what, I didn't try it last year, I'm going to try it this year. So we'll see. That'll give me, at least in my mind, a direct comparison. So they're all trimmed up, they're ready for planting. So I'm going to go through and sort out the shallots, and then I'm going to get out before the rains come again and get this stuff planted. So I'll see you in a bit. Apologies for the road noise, there's not a great deal I can do about it. So, it's time to start planting. All I've done to show you, I'm going to do this for the rest and you'll see it on the time lapse, is I've sprinkled in some of the onion and garlic fertiliser that I got from the garlic farm, and a little bit of bloodfish and bone on the surface. Now a lot of people will say you can just get your shallot and just push it in. I don't like doing that. I tend to think that it's not going to be right happy, is it? It's going to have all this compacted earth underneath it. Onion, shallots and garlic like quite free draining soil. So I'm going to be planting about 3 inches deep because of birds and pests and things like that. They'll see the little shoot that these guys send up, they'll see that and go, oh look, a worm. And you'll come one day and all your shallots and onions and garlic will be on the surface, which isn't too bad. It just means you've got to keep putting them back in, so I'm trying to avoid that where possible. I do have the luxury of having nets over the top of mine, but not everybody's got that. I still go 6 inches deep. This bed was manured with alpaca manure about, where are we, November, probably early September, late October. Alpaca manure doesn't burn root systems like horse manure does, so it should be safe to plant straight into. My cabbages and things like that didn't get eaten in the other bed are certainly loving it. So all I'm going to do, move my arm out of the way, is go about 3 inches deep, just open up a hole, and then get your shallot. Remember, that's the root, that's the top. So, you know, the bit that was previously the leaf on top, into the hole, cover it up. I'm going for about 6 to 8 inches between shallots, which on this one is just up to the curvature of the handle. So I'll just do another one, which is about there. About 3 inches deep. Now this soil is quite claggy. It isn't ideal planting conditions. It is a bit wet. But you know, when you've had rain nearly for 3 weeks straight almost. So once again, root, top, that way up, pop it in the hole. I'm not going to cover it over because I'll lose track of where my holes are. I'll cover them over at the end. But I've got the time-lapse video recording, you should be able to see me on that. And I'm just going to keep going all the way down until I've used up all my onions. That's it. It really is as simple as that. The garlic is exactly the same. I just don't have anywhere to put the garlic at the moment. So I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. The one thing I will say is try and keep your lines nice and straight and label your lines. Garlic, when it comes up, looks just like a blade of grass. So, you know, you don't want to be, onions, garlic, shallots are all the same. You don't want to be pulling that top off and spoiling your harvest. So I'm going to get these guys in. I'll see you later. Okay, so there you are. I managed to get 4 very nice lines in here. Actually, I'm quite chuffed that it's fitted. It wasn't going to fit exactly, but if you remember, one of the ones that I split, I said I was going to put in pots. I've ended up with a bit of with one space. Get better at that pointing like, and I've ended up with one space, so I've just put them in there. So I've just put the bigger one of the 2 halves in there. The other one I'll discard. But that's 1 full bed of shallots. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. So that's 22. So we've got 44 shallots in there. If I've read correctly, unfortunately Golden Gourmet don't split. Last year I grew Longo. So I'm going to see how these go. For the price, I don't think it's too good, to be honest. Although next year I'm going to experiment with shallots from seed. I might try that for my summer or spring sowing of shallots. We'll see. But there you go, look, they're all in, all planted up. All I did, what I ended up doing, on that first row I used the garlic fertilizer. On the subsequent 3 rows I've actually just essentially chalk lined with fish blood and bone. So this bed is plenty rich enough, but onions are extremely hungry. I can't stress that enough. I massively underestimated how hungry onions are. So I'm going to get these guys covered up, get them put to bed. I'm not going to water them in. With onions, as long as the bottom's in contact with moist soil, they're happy. That will start them growing. They don't need to be fully covered. But what we're going to do is I'm going to cover these guys up. I'm going to put them to bed. I'm not going to water them in. I'm just going to give it a light raking over the top. Put me netting back on. And that's this job done for today. So until next time, I'll see you later. Hey up YouTube, quick addition. I realised, let me just kneel down a sec. As I was covering these guys over, this is my garlic, that I hadn't so much as shown you. So, you know, it's exactly the same pretty much as your shallots, your onions. I'm trying something a little different, as I do every year, until I find something I'm happy with. So I've got, apparently I'm zooming in, I don't quite know how I'm doing that. So I've got garlic, 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 and one in the middle. So essentially I've done like dot, try and do it in this, dot, 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 dot. Alright, so like the 5 side on a die. It maximises your space a little bit. Garlic is a little less fussy about being in with itself, with its neighbours. So all I've done is I've gone a bit shallower on the garlic. I'm literally just leaving the clove just poking up there. I've then dusted it with some fish blood and bone. I'm then covering it up as a mulch with a bit of compost, and really just quite a very thin, just a very thin layer, just to cover it up. And that's it. That's garlic. That's garlic in. That's garlic put to bed. And it wants to be in before the frosts start, because it needs to get a bit of it needs to get underway just a little bit. Same with your onions. And then the frosts just won't bother it in the slightest. You don't need to fleece or anything. It'll be quite happy, don't worry about it. Won't put on much growth, it'll just sit there quite happily until springtime, till the soil warms up, and then it'll rocket away and it'll be one of your first crops out. So, there's my garlic. Until next time, I'll see you next time.